What up? So today is going to be chapter 2, and the chapter is called Practicing Entrepreneurship. And so I'm actually probably out of all the chapters that I'm done, this one and maybe the next one I'm most excited about. So we're rookies. We're just now learning what entrepreneurship is. Chapter 1 kind of gave us a history of it. So this one is how we're going to practice our craft or the skill set. There's a quote that started it off that I really liked. That is, the way we have been taught to solve problems was designed for a different world. To deal with uncertainty today, we need a different approach. So that goes in the book once it starts talking about is the way people used to approach business. But now they're practicing it slightly differently. And the first section in the textbook is 2 main perspectives on entrepreneurship. Again, just to show the book again. Entrepreneurship. So there's 2 main perspectives. The first perspective is predictive logic. And this kind of stems back into how it was before the new approach. But predictive logic, the definition, a form of thinking that sees entrepreneurship as a linear process in which steps are followed and outcomes are ideally predictable. That ideally predictable is kind of where the flaw is with starting a new idea or trying anything new, there's nothing predictable about it. You can try one thing and it doesn't work. And that entire linear process, you would have to continuously keep going back to edit the other part, so it wasn't that actually linear. And the sentence says, the older view sees entrepreneurship as a linear process in which steps are followed and outcomes are ideally predictable. For this reason, it's sometimes called predictive logic. In contrast to the newer view sees entrepreneurship, this different approach, sees entrepreneurship as we do, as a mindset. Our ability to think we can make it happen, and a method that requires practice. Recent advances in the field have termed this the creation logic, and this is a different approach. Creation logic is a form of thinking that is used when the future is unpredictable. In the first chapter, we talked about that the future's the definition of effectuation, something like that, is the future is unknowable, is uncertain, unpredictable, but it's controllable. For the near future, we can control our actions, so that's why this new approach, creation logic, was kind of where it stems from. So the chapter, most of it goes into showing the difference between prediction and creation, and then kind of the skills, what we need to develop in ourselves to get better at the creation method. And then the overall new roadmap of what overall entrepreneurship is. And then some advice, and then how to go about your practice. And that's really the whole chapter. So to start off, the prediction and creation, there's this chart at the bottom of the page that shows the difference between prediction and creation. And the biggest differences are, in prediction, there was big planning. You made a big business plan. These are the many customers we're going to get. This is why we're going to get them. This is how our marketing is going to be. This is where we're going to be located at. This is how much everything is going to cost. There was just a ton of planning. With creation, there's not a ton of planning. There's just small action. So, an example of the class, before I could have laid out all the chapters. I could have had a bunch of notes. I could have told 10 people to try to get the class started. I could have figured out week 1 we're going to do this, week 2 we're going to do this, week 3 we're going to do this. But instead, with the creation, it's just small actions. Just got the camera, got my notes, got the book, and let's talk. Let's figure out a conversation to do that. So it makes it a lot easier to adapt. So if something goes wrong, it's not that hard to get a different angle, get a different background, change up my notes, print out the notes, something along those lines. So small action makes it easier to change. Prediction, you have to wait until you get what you need. Creation, you're starting with what you have. Prediction, your expected return. you're hoping to get money back. In creation, you're taking an acceptable loss. Expected return is me making these videos and being like, I want to make $10,000 from making this course based on the 30 students that I have, everything I laid out. With creation, I'm okay losing the time. Like, I don't think it's a loss of the time, but I'm okay putting aside 20 minutes, 30 minutes of my day to make these videos, and I'm cool losing that time. Prediction, it's linear, so do this step, do this step, do this step. In creation, it's iterative. It's constantly changing. We tried this video, it doesn't work well. We try a different type of video. We try longer. We try an hour long. We try 5 minutes. We try 10 minutes. It's being able to change. Prediction is optimization. You're constantly trying to make things the best that they can. Creation is more experiment. Prediction, avoid failure at all costs. Creation, embrace and leverage failure. So prediction actually wants you to not fail whatsoever. So sometimes it's scarier to try prediction, because if you fail, the entire plan is done for. But in creation, you're actually excited about failure, because with this small action, the next small action is then better. So failure actually enhances your business. Prediction is competitive. I want to win and you can't win because my plan needs to do this. While creation is collaborative. I kind of need y'all's feedback to make sure that the videos are good. Prediction is knowable. I know this is going to happen. Creation is unknowable. I'm not sure what's going to happen. And then prediction believes to the extent we can predict the future, we can control it. And creation says to the extent we can create the future, we don't need to know it. So those are the two biggest differences between prediction, which was the old model, the old way of thinking in entrepreneurship, and creation, the new way of thinking. The next part of the chapter goes into the 5 skills most important to practice for entrepreneurship. The paragraph says, by using the creation approach, entrepreneurs learn through action and manage uncertainty by focusing on developing 5 key skills. And the 5 key skills are the skill of play, the skill of experimentation, the skill of empathy, the skill of creativity, and the skill of reflection. Throughout the book, these skills will come up time and time again through exercises that will encourage you to think and act entrepreneurially. And I just wanted to write out the definitions so we get a better grasp of what it is that they're actually talking about. So the skill of play. The skill of play lets us free our mind to opportunities and possibilities. Going back to that first definition, or in the first chapter, the historical definition of entrepreneurship and the way it changed. At one point it became the entrepreneur's ability to see opportunities where others didn't. And that skill of play exactly hones in on that aspect of entrepreneurship. Frees our mind to opportunities and possibilities. The next skill, the skill of experimentation, is acting in order to learn. The definition is best described as acting in order to learn, trying something, learning from the attempt, building that learning into the next iteration. These 2 videos, I'm just trying something. This is an experiment. This is me developing my skill of experimentation. And by doing this, we're hoping to just get better week by week, month by month, year by year, and hopefully in 3.5 years we will be established business owners. But for right now, this is our first practice. This is our first getting the vocabulary, the skills, just so we kind of know what the world of entrepreneurship is now talking about and expecting out of students of entrepreneurship. And so the skill of experimentation is one that kind of frees us up from the fear of failure, because failure actually improves our learning, and then the next doing will be better. The third skill, the skill of empathy, is understanding the emotions, the circumstances, the intentions, thoughts, and needs of others. The 3 of us, none of our parents are really that business savvy. None of our parents were really educated in the U.S. Most of our family doesn't have college degrees. So for us to think about ways to help them, we have to use empathy. We have to understand where they're coming from. We have to understand what are the things that they want, what are the things that they need, So then we can find a way to experiment and give that to them. That's entrepreneurship. That's why that's the third skill of entrepreneurship. The fourth skill is the skill of creativity, and that requires a general openness to the world and relates to unleashing our creative ability to create and find opportunities and solve problems. This openness to the world is an openness to learn. That's really where, if you're open about being creative, about trying different things, we get to try things like this. If we thought, no, if you don't go to college, you don't have a chance. If you don't go to a business school, you're not going to have a chance to learn entrepreneurship, management, operations, marketing, sales, any of that. But through creativity, with a camera, with a textbook, and with us constantly trying to help each other, that was a new way. We were open to helping each other, educating each other, so these things can kind of happen. And then the last skill, kind of one of the most important skills, is the skill of reflection. And I just want to read this paragraph. So, the skill of reflection helps make sense of all other actions required of play, empathy, creativity, and experimentation. It helps codify our learning from practicing the four other skills. You may not realize it, but taking the time to reflect is also an action, and it can be the most important of all five skills. Reflections makes us aware of feelings of discomfort, helps us critically analyze our own feelings and the knowledge we possess, provides us with new perspectives, and allows us to evaluate outcomes and draw conclusions. Reflection gives us perspective, and perspective is what we need to have to bring something unique into the marketplace, into other people's lives, to add value. So without reflection, we wouldn't nearly be as good. And I really like they drew a chart on the page and under the 5 most important skills to practice entrepreneurship, and it's a circle with each one of the 4 skills maintaining a corner, and the middle is reflection, meaning that at every point you could be reflecting to gain more value and insight yourself, and also to find a way to add more value to others. So those are the skills that we're going to be practicing. The way a receiver wants to work on his route running, his release from the cornerback, his ability to read coverages, we want to work on our ability of play, empathy, creativity, experimentation, and reflection. And the more we develop those skills, the better we will be at entrepreneurs. Of course, this is our rookie season. This is the first week of us trying this. So obviously we may not be that good at any of them, but over time we'll get better, and then we'll be able to provide more value for us, family, environment, community. Then the chapter kind of goes into the practice of entrepreneurship, and the next section heading is entrepreneurship is more a method than a process. And it kind of goes back to the predictive or creative. And entrepreneurship as a method is a set of practices. These are the practices. Entrepreneurship as a process says, I know what I have, I know what I want to produce, and that's not really true. We do know what we have and we do know what we want to make, but we don't exactly know how it's going to come out with customers, come out with feedback. So we have to be willing to change. There's phases of learning. It's iterative, it's constantly changing. You're creative, we're action focused. We're more investing for learning than necessarily dollars right now. And then it's collaborative. So that's entrepreneurship as a method. And the more comfortable we get with practices, learning, changing things up, being creative, taking action, and collaborating, the better we will be at that method. This next part is kind of the actual practice regimen. So the way in a workout or something, you'd go there, you'd warm up, you'd stretch, you hit your hard weights, you take a little break, hit your hard weights, and then cool down. Our 8 steps are going to be for the entrepreneurship process. So there's 8 steps. if we want to do 4 and 4, the four beginning steps are kind of different than the four last steps. So the first 4 steps are identify your desired impact on the world or in your environment. So for this class, my desired impact was for us to be able to talk about business and to have business ideas and to help each other out and feel more comfortable that and believe that we can do this. Start with means at hand. This is a textbook I already got for class. I just took notes on it and then a camera. So that's as basic as we're getting. We're not even in the same place, but this is the first week of our rookie entrepreneurship season. Describe the idea today. I want us to be able to feel comfortable around having these conversations, to be able to ask questions, to try things with our money, to make them grow, to help our families in Mexico. We're just going to start today, and that's kind of the idea behind the classroom. And then calculate affordable loss. I'm okay losing 30 minutes of my day to explain this stuff. I'm okay losing an hour of my day staying after school and helping with the questions that y'all have, asking them to my professor to get feedback. I'm okay losing some time to get us as a group to be learning at a kind of step by step to make sure we can make this happen. Then the next 4 steps are kind of the more action. Take small action. This is on the table. I just set the camera up in front of me and then I'm just talking. So this is really small action. I didn't rent out a classroom. I didn't tell y'all to come up to Huntsville to try to meet me and try to set up guest speakers with my professor. We're just starting really small. The 6th one is network and enroll others in your journey. In our classes, we learn entrepreneurship individually. So I'm learning entrepreneurship. My old roommate Eric, he was learning entrepreneurship. Other classmates are learning entrepreneurship, but we're all learning it by ourselves. What happened over the last 2 years with Eric being our roommate, Danny, I know you were part of this too. We started enrolling others and then we got better. So the 6th step after you take small action is to include others in it, because with others you'll collaborate more, you'll get more ideas, and we'll get more out of the experience. 7 is build on what you learn. So as I was learning in my class, I realized that it's easier to learn when you have a group of people. So once I graduate, I still want to be learning, but to learn better and to learn more, I realized that I need a group, having all my roommates here. So this is also an attempt to try to make our group for long-term learning as well. And then reflect and be honest with yourself. This may not work, it might work well. There may be better strategies that would help us even get faster to our goals. And we just have to be honest with, hey, the audio is super crappy on your cameras. We got to find a better way to do that. Hey, the videos are really just not appealing. We got to find a way to fix that. The information's really good, but it's hard to just hear audio. Maybe you could give us notes. We just have to be honest and reflect on how we can make the experience or whatever the product or services that we're providing better. There's a couple notes that I took for every one of the 8, and I just want to go through them really quickly. So for number 1, identify your desired impact on the world or your environment. There's an excerpt that says, rarely is entrepreneurship about money or the profit. Most pursue what they love. Others value their autonomy and ability to control their work experience. And others have a strong desire to bring something new to market. So whatever it is that you want to have, it doesn't necessarily, whatever desired impact you want to have, it doesn't have to be just for money. Yes, we kind of need money at our young age and we're kind of worried about our career taking off. But sometimes you may want to have more control over your work experience, and that may be more important than working with our family and working with our friends may be more important while we make a lower amount of money than if we were to leave Texas, go on our own, make a lot of money, but be lonely, not have the friends or family around us. So it just kind of gives us more control. Number 2, start with means at hand. It says, answer the questions. Who am I? What do I know? And whom do I know? They will help you understand your current resource base. So just kind of figuring out what is around you will help you figure out what you can do to start small. Number 3, describe the idea today. What can you start to do today